What movie are you quoting the most with your besties?
Besties or loved ones?
Well, your besties are your loved ones.
Damn, curveball. It depends on who I'm with. If I'm with my parents, I'll quote White Christmas because I know that's G-rated, and my mom will laugh. If I'm with my brother-in-law, it's Napoleon Dynamite. If I'm with Laura, it's a mix of I Think You Should Leave, The Office, and Law & Order SVU. There are a couple of lines in SVU that we think are really funny.
That's just like such an odd one to quote.
SVU? Like, well, there's a scene where a judge, like these kids, she lets these kids off with a lenient sentence for drinking because she thinks they have potential and whatever. And then they post a video online, and SVU is always so corny when they do things electronically because it looks so bad. But they make this video, and obviously they can't say bad words because it's network television, right? So it's these drunk teenagers, and they say, "Oh my God, what's up the judge's butt?" And then the judge pauses the video, and she goes, "Up my butt?" Haul them in. Like, oh, telling you to put it up your butt is apparently what's going to send these kids to prison.
Pushed her over the edge.
Great. It wasn't the drinking. Yeah.
They used to have potential.
Oh, God,
Yeah, they
really
had
funny.
potential, and then they said up her butt. So
And then they're done.
Yeah.
Jail forever.
So we quote that one all the time.
Napoleon Dynamite's one of my all-time favorites.
do you quote it? Who do you quote it with most?
I mean, just like in my head. I mean, I'm just like
In your head?
Yeah, like I'm walking around doing a Napoleon Dynamite, like
She is Uncle Rico.
yeah, like that's where my personality like shines. Like I get this Uncle Rico aura going.
Do you sell
In the
Tupperware?
morning?
Do you sell Tupperware door to door?
It's kind of like that. Like I don't actually sell Tupperware, but I try to liken what I'm doing to whatever Uncle
You
Rico
should start
would
wearing
do.
a side pony too.
I've been known for this.
Oh,
okay,
you
Deb
could
is
Deb-
also
you
one of
could
my
Deb
favorites.
so hard.
Dude, I do Deb hard. Like I feel like I'm Deb. Like
I love Deb, man.
I know.
Deb's
I
just trying to make it, dude.
I just feel like a lot of how I feel can be like expressed through just characters and quotes from Napoleon Dynamite. But the other one that is like a family favorite is what's that Jim Carrey movie? Ace Ventura.
Oh,
Ace
yeah.
Ventura is like
It's a good
I mean, I think
quotable
the
one.
majority of what I've said for the last 20 years, 28 has been like
Yeah.
just Ace Ventura quotes.
So I've seen Ace Ventura one time, and it was incredibly forgettable for me. What are some of the lines from Ace Ventura that you love?
Well, I'll always be like, let's see that in an instant replay, which is like classic.
Is that from Ace Ventura?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like Ace Ventura is like one of those movies where you have to see it more than, or you have to see it with someone who loves it, because then they like it's funnier.
Would you like a cookie, son?
Remember that one either. What's your favorite Napoleon Dynamite line? What's the one that you think of constantly?
Well, I love I just love what's the brother's name? I'm like blanking. Kip. Like basically anything Kip says. But like when we went to the Ox last year, I met some new YHH colleagues on that trip, and I got included into the like group chat that weekend for the first time all of my life. Which was very rewarding. Once people started quoting Napoleon Dynamite. So like up until the end of the weekend when Steve Carlson was like just threw like a random Kip quote in there, and I was like, these are my people.
Steve Carlson or Steve Hansen?
Carlson.
Oh, wow. I didn't think Steve Carlson would be a Napoleon Dynamite.
That's
type
what
guy.
made me feel like I was in. Like all of a sudden the group 1099 chat, like Steve Carlson's dropping Kip quotes. I'm driving home from Moorhead like, I think I'm going to like my new job.
I think I'm going to like this. They watch the same stupid
Okay,
movies.
I love
that
how he
do.
says, Napoleon, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with babes all day.
Your delivery of that line was perfect.
Or when
I love
Napoleon calls him from school and he's like, get over here. I need my chapstick.
I love when Kip, he's in 15 different pads in his rollerblades, and he asks Napoleon to pull him into town, and it's a freaking rope tied to a bicycle.
I could watch that movie
And
again.
they go to was it Krav Maga? And it's not Krav Maga. It's
Jiu-jitsu.
It's not Taekwondo either. It's Rex
Jiu-jitsu.
Kwando. Because it's Rex Kwando, and it's Dietrich Bader wearing the America pants, and he's just yoked, man. I love that scene. That's my favorite scene. Kayla, what about you?
My family.
Please say
quotes-
Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay, no, we
Damn
don't
it.
quote Napoleon Dynamite, but we do watch a lot of stupid movies. My family loves stupid movies. We love especially Well, Christmas Vacation is one that's on my mind right now because it's Christmas.
I'm going to agree with that because
Never
that's another
seen it.
one that's quoted
Oh
all
my
the time.
gosh.
Never
If
seen that
you should definitely watch that. That's
Christmas
like
Vacation?
The dry humor in that is like gold. Like,
Hold on. Let
gold.
me jot that down quick.
I'm shocked you haven't seen it. My former
It is
in-laws watch
so
it
good.
every year on Thanksgiving.
It's my dad's favorite, so we have to watch it like every year.
Nice.
It's like we always say Grace. She died 30 years
She
ago.
died. Yeah.
When they're doing their prayer. And then we also like Zoolander a lot.
God,
Yes.
So good.
Thank
Zoolander is
you.
so good.
Thank you.
And then, like, if
Zoolander.
you watch it with somebody who hasn't seen it, they just, like, don't think it's funny.
Well,
and
if you
I'm
don't
just
pay attention
dying
for the
with
first 3
laughter.
minutes, you have no idea what's going
No.
on. The first 3
The
minutes of that
fact
movie
that
are
they
so
get
critical.
in a gas fight is...
That's
the
one of my
most
favorite
epic-
montages of all cinema history.
It is the most... Who came up with that? I don't know, but I thank them every day.
Some girl in my team the other day, we're like trying to do some skill work. So I'm like asking them to transition one way or the other. And the girl was like, I can't turn left.
What?
I had
Like,
an opportunity.
Did you quote the video?
I had an opportunity to call one of my 15 U's Zoolander, and I took it.
You took it, and they had no
the adults
idea
in the room
what you're
loved
talking
it.
about.
What's his face? What's his face called?
Blue Steel.
Blue Steel. Why did I forget?
He's going to drop Magnum.
I mean,
Call
I
yourself
also like
a
when
fan.
he says,
He's got
when
some
he
work to
says,
do.
it's in the computer.
In the computer.
They throw the computer off the thing.
I do also do that often.
Yeah.
Throw your
I do-
computer.
Try to get the files out of the computer. Or I tell Tony the files are in the computer.
Like
They're
the 80,000
in the
Dropbox
That's what I
files?
say. They're in the computer.
Is
There's
that how
just
you
so
try to get
many
him out?
dumb parts in that movie, like how he has a little mini tiny cell phone that he carries. Like it's so
It's
great.
the best movie.
We also quote Hot Chick, which I know you said you'd never seen, or you. don't
I think
remember.
I saw it a long
And then-
time ago.
My sister and I like to quote, "I think you should leave." Also, so,
Okay.
and Jake and I.
I think you would really like I Think You Should Leave.
You
I think
would.
you
What
should
is
carve
this?
out some Jossie time
Yeah,
and watch I Think You Should Leave.
Guys.
we can do it on our next holiday party.
Yeah. I'll
And-
RSVP no, so I have 3 free hours.
Nice.
It's seriously.
But where am I going to wear my best dress to?
I don't know.
I think you should leave party.
We should totally talk about the holiday party on the episode.
Oh, we
We
will.
should. We
We
should
should.
recap it.
Okay.
My first YHH plaque?
your
we're not
first
talking about it first?
Hey, there's no way around. I'm top of the mount. I'm queen of the mountain. My cup running over. I already told ya. I'm moving fast. You live in the past.
Peter, what do you call it? Deer with no eyes?
I've got no idea.
Damn it.
Nailed it!
I wanted to guess
Nailed
it.
it!
Wrong.
Why? Where did you get that?
That's one of my holiday jokes.
Oh. What do you call an eyeless fish? Damn it.
Sorry, I just
Stop
know
it.
all these. I'm just giving them
Stop
all
it.
away. I just had to answer.
It took me a minute to catch that one, too.
My grandpa was like a middle school teacher. He loves.
I bet he
stupid
has
jokes.
all of those jokes.
Oh
on
my
lock
god!
As a middle
he
school
asks
teacher.
you them all the time. I'm like, Grandpa, you've told me this joke like
we
70
we
times.
went over this last
Can I
year.
ask a question about middle school jokes quick, and maybe you two can help me out? What does skibbity toilet mean?
It literally means nothing.
Means nothing?
I've asked my not my niece, my cousin this. She's like 10, and I asked her, and she was like, it doesn't mean anything.
So it means nothing.
Wait, does
It
skibbity
means nothing.
skibbity doesn't always get followed with toilet, though?
What does skibbity mean then?
No, they just say skibbity over and over. and
Skibbity
over.
is like an
What?
adjective.
Yeah, literally, it doesn't. Like they
Adjective
put it
for
in
what?
front of anything.
Yeah,
Like,
skibbity-
any word. It doesn't
Skibbity
mean
hat.
anything.
That's
Yeah, that's
a
your hat
sentence?
would be probably like cool.
My hat is so skibbity.
I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I also just think it sounds really stupid.
Well, because
they
it's not
say
a
it
real
over and
word.
over and over and
And it's
over
also not a
again.
real word.
Yeah,
But when I reflect on my years 10 through
It's the
20,
same-
they
yeah.
were also really stupid.
yeah.
I don't know. I said real words. I remember tight.
I used to wear like blue
Tight?
eyeshadow up to my eyebrows,
That's
so I
tight.
can't really.
That's
Yeah,
tight.
that's
Saying
tight.
something was tight was definitely
Yeah,
a
tight,
part of my
like
childhood.
skibbity and tight are probably like similar.
Cousins.
They're not though, because tight is a real word.
You're right, but
It
tight
has
also,
an it has an
tight-
antonym.
But tight also doesn't. It didn't have a meaning when people started using it in the way you're talking about.
Yeah, but is skibbity in the dictionary?
The thing is with the UrbanDictionary.com addition to the world, like now everything is in the dictionary. You can literally everything.
Okay, I want you to level with me, Jossie.
Yeah.
You were in high school in the early 2000s when the internet was just kind of taking off. How much time did you spend on UrbanDictionary.com?
Back then, they didn't have Urban Dictionary.
Okay, when Urban Dictionary
Came
emerged, how much time did you spend on
The thing is, I was
Urban
immediately
Dictionary?
pissed about it. So I was right on there. Like I was
Why
like,
were you immediately
why are we
pissed
adding
about
new
it?
words?
Oh, okay.
I'm already learning. I'm still learning the first bunch.
You
I
just-
don't want to know
I feel
more.
like Urban Dictionary doesn't actually have meanings, though. It was always stupid. Like, it would be like, oh, look up what your name means.
No, Urban Dictionary is like the new. What's
already
the
know
dictionary
what
that we all?
Wikipedia?
No, what's the dictionary that we all list?
Oh,
Webster,
Webster's-
Merriam's.
Merriam-Webster, yeah.
Urban Dictionary is like becoming more credible than that.
Really?
I don't think
As a
that's
part of
true.
a diversity, like because
Oh, because it includes like slang.
it includes everything from every.
Oh.
It's like it's a more practical. That's actually a really good point. It's a more practical.
It includes words that weren't words or
Okay.
whatever.
This is my favorite definition
Like
for
skibbity.
skibbity on here. It says nobody actually knows what it means. It's just the same as saying that's so verb.
That's so
Sounds about
verb.
right. I know,
That's
but you
so
know,
Raven.
a lot of these kids that are using it though, these are COVID kids. Like
Yeah.
we should expect worse. Things are going to get worse, guys.
Things are gonna get
Among
worse.
the kids who spent the years at home by themselves on their internet,
I am.
we are going to
on
see
the
more.
interweb.
We are going to see more of this.
I'm pretending like it's not gonna get worse. It's just something I don't understand, and I would like to understand it more. Not because I'm a creeper, but because I think it would behoove adults to maybe embrace the new words instead of punching the tide. But I look at some of these words that are banned in a middle school. This is a tweet. Diddy Party, Alpha, Mewing, Omega, Ohio,
I love the mute.
Oh yeah, Ohio
Giat.
skibbity riz.
Gooning.
Did you know that if
Riz,
you call someone
like,
Ohio, it just means that they're like lame?
what? But Ohio.
You're so Ohio.
That's what kids don't understand today. That Cleveland and Cincinnati are directly responsible for so much of the expansion westward. Ohio was also the most
It is the armpit of the
desirable
country.
territory for the British when they still thought they were going to win the Revolutionary War. And Ohio has provided the most U.S. presidents
Peter
of any other
is
state.
really passionate about
I'm really
Ohio.
passionate
Has
about
the
Ohio.
Fewest letters of any state.
Does it really?
3.
No.
4.
Ohio?
Ohio.
There's only one O. I mean, there's only
2.
Yeah, but
There's 3
Iowa,
letters.
Iowa has 4 letters. as well.
Ohio.
That's
oh,
4
you're
letters.
saying
Guys, come
you're
on.
saying 3 total letters.
Duh.
Like O counts.
Oh, I thought you meant
was
there was only
so-
3 letters in the
I was
name.
so
No,
confused.
Jossie, no.
Yeah.
Now I understand what you're
Guys.
saying. Now I gotcha.
No, what I'm talking about is it only has 3. It only uses 3 of the alphabet's letters. Like that's exciting.
Is that cool?
I enjoy that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's efficient right there. That's
What about?
efficient.
Oh no,
So, like,
Iowa's got 4.
Whenever I was at camp when I was little, there was like a group of older kids in a different cabin, and they would walk by our cabin, and they would tell us all to say Idaho, which we thought
Oh
was we
my
loved.
God.
We loved that these boys were giving us attention.
Classic.
Oh no.
We were pretty young.
Oh no.
But then they'd always yell as soon as we said Idaho, and they prompted it, and then they would be like, "We da pimp."
We da pimp. Damn.
That was in the early '90s
I think
at
kids
Camp
today.
Canaduna.
I think kids today would call that Riz.
There was
Riz.
Riz. These
We
older-
da pimp.
But they were they were way older than us. Like that. I don't think older boys Riz like little girls.
We would.
You would hope not.
Yeah. We would just say, yeah, you are.
I'm rubber.
Oh,
you're glue,
that's what you're
whatever
supposed to
you
say?
Idaho.
We were
No,
we were earlier.
I never
we
heard
were.
we to pimp. That's very very creative.
never heard
It
we
probably
da
got
pimp?
filtered out by the time your generation
Probably.
was using it.
Probably.
The word pimp.
No, just say
response
we to
to
pimp
Idaho.
to Idaho, because people
the
would do the same
solicited-
Idaho joke,
yeah,
but
the
they would say,
solicited
"Yeah, you
response.
are," instead of
Nice.
yeah.
Damn. What a
Just like
deflection,
a little bit
Kayla.
meaner.
What?
It's like a little bit meaner in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. It's just
Like
kind of
we
like
to pimp.
solidifying
We da
that.
pimp. Oh, that's actually kind of a that's a power structure.
I was gonna say
thing
now
right
there's
there.
now we've introduced a whole new dynamic.
Do you realize that
We've
there
made
is-
this illegal
there's
completely.
there's a television show that I grew up with called Pimp My Ride.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So the word pimp was completely normal.
You've seen my Jeep, right?
definition-
Inspired by a good MTV episode of Pimp My Ride.
The definitions are different, though.
I will give you $1 if you can tell me the rapper who was on Pimp My Ride.
It was Snoop Dogg.
Okay, that's your guess. Who was the
No, it
rapper?
was Ludacris,
Stop.
right?
Who was the rapper on Pimp My
I
Ride?
have zero.
Wait,
clue.
was it Luda?
No.
Who was it?
Cornrows.
That's a rapper?
No. He had cornrows.
Oh.
That's why I said Luda.
Exhibit.
Exhibit.
Oh.
Exhibit. How could you forget Exhibit?
Look, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time.
And there was also the Cribs, and so there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Oh,
going on
MTV
now.
Cribs. That's right. Yeah. I used to watch that too. I used to think everybody has a pool but me.
Yeah.
Everybody has a pool and 7 cars.
Well, then you realize they're like renting those houses, like
Yeah, there was a bunch of drama about that not being their actual house.
you did. That's not your house.
That's not your house. Get
MTV
out.
has some like gold in their past shows.
We were I feel like the lucky generation because they went from literally just playing music videos all day to having some like reality shows. And
There was
stuff.
a show where you could go into like your crush's room when they weren't there.
Room Raiders.
Yes.
Room
yes.
Raiders.
Room Raiders. There was Next, where people would get off a
Oh
bus.
my god! And it was like
They would be
swiping
like,
in
next.
person. How horrible is that?
That is
You get off
horrible.
a bus and some guy just looks at you and says, "Next." Ugh.
How do you recover from that? How do
You
you go
never
about
do.
the rest
Get off
of your
the next
day?
bus.
You
Just get
never
off the
do.
next bus. Someone's waiting for you at the end of that bus stop. Like,
I like the
Somebody's not going to
motivational
say
quote.
next.
Get off the next bus.
Get
Try
off at
again.
get off the next bus, buddy. If you fall down, get right back up and get off the next bus.
Oh man.
Fun Christmas party last night, guys.
I can't believe that was the first annual YHH
That was
Christmas
the
party.
first ever.
I feel like that was
Christmas
the
party.
first ever Christmas party because I feel like before we didn't have like enough people.
Well, here's the thing. Jenny and I got hired a while back and immediately became the fun committee. Like, Tony
Yeah.
was like,
It's
you guys
true,
are going to be in
actually.
charge of this and this and this. And we were like, and the fun.
Speaking of office, you're the party planning committee.
That's it.
Whoa.
So we weren't going to let another year go by.
Without
That's
doing
good.
Without a holiday
having
party.
a pizza party at Giordano's.
And fortunately, Santa came
Santa was there.
and delivered gifts for everybody.
And the children really liked Santa.
Yeah, I was a little afraid. I thought Santa might like scare the shit out of some patrons, but those kids
They-
loved
they
The
were
it.
like,
baby,
filming
did you
him.
guys see the baby?
Yes.
Yeah.
The baby was this big, and that baby knew who Santa was.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what? Normally they're
Mesmerized.
scared. And Tony doesn't have a
It might have been the
Santa hat on.
It might have been the missing hat.
I don't know what happened to the hat. All of a sudden he popped up and he didn't have a Santa hat on,
Just
but he
had, like,
had
a
the
white
wig
afro.
and the beard.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah, the white afro, that was like one of the best Santa renditions I've seen in a while. The no hat, black rimmed glasses.
The white
The
wig,
Where's Waldo?
the beard, and then the on sneakers. They really rounded
It
out
was
the Santa
very
outfit.
plasticky looking beard.
Very plasticky
Well, the
looking beard.
YHH MVP plaques, the coveted plaques, have now been distributed to
27
30
of-
different
There's a
MVPs.
There's a lot of
Well,
MVP
24 because 3 people didn't show up. So
plaques. Boo.
But their MVP plaques are still going to be delivered.
yeah.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And certificates.
We already printed our certificates. What are we supposed to do with them?
Turn them in for a raise.
Turn them like golden tickets.
You got the
You can either
golden
keep it and
ticket.
know that your company values you, or you can turn them in for a raise.
Turn them in for a raise. Or turn them in for...
Cash prizes.
Well, I personally really appreciate it. I got some gluten-free pasta, some gluten-free pizza.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got to see all sorts of nice people.
I really enjoyed the caprese salad skewers.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Those
Those
cheese
were really
triangles
good.
looked bomb.
They were fantastic.
I didn't even try one.
I haven't had a good fried cheese shape for a while, and the fried cheese triangle at Giordano's was outstanding.
I would consider a day in the hospital.
To eat a fried cheese square.
Yeah.
Okay.
to be
we can
clear,
we can
Josie,
arrange that.
Hers has celiac, so she's not eating those fried cheese squares.
I might wait
Triangles.
till after the next 10 weeks where we're just basically working
Just to
60
risk
hours a day
Yeah, that's true.
because I can't afford to be in the hospital during any of these tournaments. But
yeah.
right after that, guys, I might go get this.
Should we like
You gonna
put
go-
it on TikTok or something?
We could just see what happens. But I'll be so happy.
Follow Josie on her way to the emergency room.
We'll live stream
Live
your stomach pumping.
It's really fun.
Is that what happens?
No, when I went last time, they just kept me in the lobby, but they did give me some pain meds.
Okay.
Huh.
Anything good?
I don't know.
Did you even get past the lobby?
Yeah, so I could have been admitted, but I needed to go to my gastroenterologist. And it was my birthday, and I didn't really want to go in.
Sad.
I was there for like 9 hours in the lobby.
Horrible birthday.
It was my worst birthday of all time.
Oh my god.
When was that?
Roughly 8 months ago.
Oh, this was during the tournament.
No, that was a different time I got glutened and puked everywhere.
Oh.
This was my birthday.
Got glutened.
This was my birthday.
Yeah, that's
a bummer.
I don't know. It's like in the spring, and I was in the hospital and not having a birthday celebration.
Really sad for you, know.
Anyway, I might do the cheese triangle though, because I really like
Still
cheese.
gonna have the cheese triangle.
The thing is, I really like cheese, and the last time I went to the hospital for celiac, it was over a caramel roll, which isn't quite.
It wasn't worth it to you.
But
you can eat cheese though, can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dairy and gluten are different, which a lot of servers don't know.
Could you eat fried cheese if it used like some
gluten-free bread? Yeah.
Do they have those?
Some places do, but they're not that good.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'm going to look up gluten-free mozzarella sticks real quick.
We're going to eat them on the pod.
Well, I've tried a lot of the gluten-free stuff, and most of it's not very good.
I went gluten-free for like 5 months one time, and I was like, yeah. Like, I would just avoid getting bread on sandwiches.
Yeah, I don't need any. But the thing is, you guys, actually, like, almost everything that's American that, like, isn't just a whole food, it pretty much is, like, stuffed with extra gluten, like, additives, and it's like giving people all these problems or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're going to be trending a different direction with our food health in America. But for now, like a lot of this stuff, unless you're just eating like chicken breasts and vegetables, like you're kind of screwed.
You're going to hit gluten somewhere.
Yeah.
And even if you eat chicken breast and vegetables, you can look at, is it heirloom chicken? Is it organic chicken?
Are
Where
they
does the chicken
robot
come
chickens?
from? Where did the vegetable?
Have you guys opened a chicken breast lately that just like, it's like this shredded, mangled, like, I've seen some weird shit coming out of the grocery store. Like,
nope.
I'm trying to eat healthy, and I'm trying to buy chicken because it's a reasonable price, and I get it. And I'm like, this isn't real food. There's no way that what I just opened is real. And I'm sure that this is like some sort of manufactured
chicken product.
Right. And then it's like all like shredded and mangly. It looks like ground beef, but it's a chicken breast.
I haven't seen it. I typically get chicken thighs, skin on, bone in, because it's cheap.
I normally I don't really buy meat that often.
Really?
Not really.
Are you against it on a personal level?
No, I'm cheap.
Cheap. Okay.
What do you get for protein? What do you eat for protein?
We eat a lot of like tofu and chickpeas, stuff like that, veggies.
Probably not too much gluten in there.
No. Yeah, we don't probably eat that much gluten, but
I actually tried going vegan for a while. I did like a month as a vegan.
That'd be way harder.
It was tough. I liked it because I knew what was in my food at all times, and I learned how to make my own versions of cheese and my own sauces and my own dressings and whatnot. It did not do me any favors nutritionally because I just was not getting enough protein or enough calories. But I appreciated the level of discipline that comes with being vegan and embracing the process of making your own stuff. I liked that. But I'll never go back now.
Well, that's why being celiac surprised me. I didn't think I had as much discipline as I do. But, I mean, I had to change every single thing I know about eating overnight when I was diagnosed. And now, like, eating is like this big weekly job. It's not just like, hey, let's go get food. It's like,
it'd be so hard.
I plan out everything.
Yeah. No wonder you were so thrilled when we found that place in Fargo during Prep Elite.
I would drive up there on a regular weekend to eat there.
You were so
I need to know the
stoked.
name of it because I've been telling more people about it.
Oh, in Fargo?
In Moorhead. That chicken joint.
That chicken joint.
I don't remember what it was called.
I don't remember what it's called, but I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep going there.
Get them to sponsor the show.
I will.
we can have free.
We do have a lot of celiac content on our women's hockey pod.
So much celiac content. Should we talk a little hockey today?
I suppose we should. Well, and we warned you guys last week because of the holiday and Euro break that there were really limited college D1, D3 stuff going on, although there were a few things. So let's just start with D1.
Yeah, let's do some D1 stuff.
Other than out east, the only WCHA series was Bemidji and MSU.
Yep.
And Mankato just crushed them. So they won both of those games, and they spread their scoring all over their roster.
Bless you.
So I do the Summit scores. I think I mentioned that last week. And this week was pretty easy. I didn't have too many games to check, but Haley Hansen had a shutout on Friday night for MSU. Madison Meshuga had a hat trick on Friday night. Jamie Nelson scored on Friday night. And then on Saturday, Jamie Nelson scores twice more. Claire Vekic scores twice, and Mackenzie Bergery scores. And so MSU has all of your Summit scores for the entire weekend.
I want to throw out some assisters.
Why don't you?
Minnesota State, because I was looking at the box score and I thought, that's a Minnesotan, that's a Minnesotan, that's a Minnesotan. So in addition to Maddie Meshuga's hat trick, we had assists coming from Whitney Tuttle, Lily Ramirez, Jaden Seifert, Mac Borgery, Kiana Roski, Janessa Gazdick, Juliana Gazdick, and Taylor Otremba. What would women's college hockey do without Minnesota high school products? Probably fall apart.
There would be a lot less scoring, that's for sure, especially in the NUHA and in the WCHA. A couple of these girls were also recognized as WCHA Players of the Week for their efforts over the weekend. Players of the Week, Goaltender of the Week was Haley Hansen, and she's been up on the stats sheet every week. Rookie of the Week is Morgan Smith at Bemidji. Defender of the Week, Juliana Gazdick, as you mentioned, and then Forward of the Week, Maddie Meshuga.
Yeah, Morgan Smith had a hat trick in that 5-3 loss for the Beavers. She had every goal on the weekend for Bemidji State.
Yes. So that's really it for the D1 results. So because it was so short and sweet, I told you last week that I would touch on a few of the Saturday Summit scores from last weekend.
Let's go.
Which we didn't do. So Riley Bartz at St. Thomas, Lily Fetch at Maine. She keeps putting stuff on the board in Maine. Jada Habish at UConn. Peyton Hemp scored twice for the Gophers 2 Saturdays ago. Ella Holm at Sacred Heart. Michaela Kelly at Franklin Pierce. Taylor Larson. Sadie Lindsay scored. We're still trying to get her to shoot more. Olivia Mobley, who you mentioned, and Maya Nugent from Robert Morris. Mobley is Duluth, and Lindsay's St. Thomas.
Who's Maya Nugent?
From Robert Morris.
Yeah. She's from Minnesota?
According to my research.
How do you spell that?
Neugent.
Neugent. Okay, continue. Don't let me stop you.
Okay, so then also the rivalry series. So we didn't lead with this, but this is super exciting. The United States went over to Europe, to Finland. Sorry, not rivalry series. It's the Women's Euro Hockey Tour.
There you go.
And the Six Nations tournament. So United States wins that one in a 5-3 win over Canada on Sunday. Abby Murphy is a standout star of the game, but over the weekend, a lot of good contributions from a couple of WCHA members that we'll talk a little bit about. And that's a good win for Minnesota, or for the United States. I think Canada's kind of outshining us in some of the rivalry series and things like that.
Certainly in international play, and it's important for America to remain dominant.
There's some, so a fun weekend. Obviously, we didn't get to see too many of the games, so we're following it basically like on Twitter and some of the hockey journalists recaps of these games. But there's a lot of talk about the Euro hockey, the Women's Euro Hockey Tour, and what place do these different exhibition type tournaments and series have for women? So I think that I'd love to get some of your perspective on like. So, here's some of the buzz.
Hit me with the buzz.
Some of the buzz is the world's sick of seeing Canada and the United States 100% of the time.
Oh, that's too bad.
There needs to be, the gap is getting bigger between the level of play in the European leagues for women and the PWHL. And right now there is not a feeder program established for the PW. So women are using their college experience if the timing's right, like if they're already a 5th year or something like that, or they're heading over to Europe and trying to get games and training in Europe before the PW. So the level of play at the PW is like increasing rapidly, and there aren't any other leagues that are kind of doing that or trying to train those players for that. So a lot of people are using the Women's Euro Hockey Tour as their opportunity to get more competition, get more games under their belt, especially some of these Czechians, some of these Finnish girls, Swedish girls. So there are some buzz that the rosters for the United States and Canada should be limited to who can be on the roster. Have some sort of rules. So now you're bringing only United States women who play in Europe, for example. So Savannah Norcross and so you're fielding United States and Canadian teams with women from already playing in European leagues and not sending 40 WCHA. Well, and actually of the 40, a lot of them were playing for Czechia, Finland, Sweden, but not the same names on the same rosters in every single team.
So what you're saying is that during the Euro Tour, the Americans should only be able to dress American-born players that are currently playing in Europe.
Yeah, something like that. So while that tournament's going on, maybe the United States and Canada have a rivalry series weekend or something like that. Let those players play with each other.
Okay, so I guess I see both sides because I think that would open up a lot more slots for different players.
Yeah.
But I disagree with the premise because if we're using international play as this driving marketing force for women's hockey on a global scale, you need the best players. The dream team, USA Basketball, is not the dream team without having Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan and all those
Maybe the
guys.
rivalry series teams go to Finland, play the rivalry series aside the Six Nations tour, where you've got parity among your teams.
Well, I think it would be great if they took the rivalry series internationally. I know that kind of defeats the purpose of the provinciality of Canada versus the United States, but if we are trying to expand women's hockey and the options for women outside of North America, then I think the best players have to go on the road. It's a barnstorming tour. It's what the PWHPA did before the merger. Or before, I shouldn't call it a merger. Some people on both sides might get upset at that. But it's what the PWHPA did. They found markets and they brought the best talent. And the Negro Leagues, I know this is a bit of a stretch, but the Negro Leagues did the same thing. They bopped around with the best teams and they put on a show for people. Sports is entertainment, and to entertain, you need the best entertainers, and the best athletes are the best entertainers. So I wouldn't be upset to see the rivalry series taken abroad.
Yeah, and so that's not necessarily planned. That's just some buzz. And, for perspective, every single PWHL scout that there is was over in Finland.
All 11 of them.
Yeah, it's a platform for so many women. And I think the game has seen a bit of a traffic jam as far as exposing more players to the opportunities with the same, like we've talked about, the same people on every single team. Mm-hmm. So I'd love this. I look forward to seeing where this is going to go or how they plan to do that. Because right now in the United States, there's no other formal PWHL feeder program.
I mean, I think you can make an argument that NCAA hockey is the primary feeder program.
Well, it is. I mean, that's not necessarily even an argument. That's the truth. But it's not sufficient. The NCAA is a totally different level of play.
Why isn't it sufficient, though?
It's a different level of play. And
of course it's a different level of play. It's a professional league.
Well, I think it doesn't feed you enough either. Each year you're going to have X number. But also, I don't expect that would be sustainable. To keep the PWHL competition good, exciting and growing, I don't think having the NCAA or feeder program is the answer.
Well, if you want to keep the talent at the top and you want to keep the talent at the top, I guess that's the best way I can put it, then you wouldn't even expand the league. You'd keep it at 6 teams and you would keep it as concentrated as possible. So no matter what happens with expansion of the league or with more players on rosters, it's going to get watered down by proxy.
Yeah, I guess when you look at the top prospects list, which we can take a look at, these girls are so far separated from the rest of the pack that it just shows how short-sighted it is to have the NCAA be the feeder program, because the Savannah Norcrosses of the world are better than a lot of these second-line NCAA players, and they're over in Europe. There's a gap. We're missing something for sure.
Yeah, I would be curious to talk to somebody within the league or somebody who works more with the American development model to see what their suggestion would be. Yeah. I think this is more of a natural progression of things. The league is still so young that it's still trying to find its footing, and I don't know how the European leagues factor into who gets picked off to play in the PWHL, because you can bet that PWHL teams have eyes on Europe for players that might be playing really well in Sweden or in Finland or what have you. But I don't think that it's a cause for crisis just yet.
Well, here's what has actually happened. The European leagues have actually dwindled because there's a motivation now for a lot of these European girls to come over to the United States and play college hockey over here, which they didn't care for as much before. But now they've got something after college hockey that they want to look at. So we're not even talking about the same leagues as we were last year.
But I think it's just a natural progression. Like the KHL in Russia is not as good as the NHL, and everybody just kind of accepts that. The NHL is better than the SHL in Sweden, and everybody just kind of accepts that. The Premier League, Premier Professional League, is in North America. Sorry.
Well, I guess that's my point. I guess there needs to be, whether it's like a 2-team, 3-team farm league or something. I think that we're missing something so far to keep if we want to look 3, 5, 10 years down the road and continue the trajectory that they're on, I don't think we can overlook this much longer. We can't call the NCAA the feeder program.
What do you think about junior hockey for women?
Yeah, well, that should definitely happen, but that should be prior to the NCAA for a lot of girls.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, do we raise the overall level of talent by offering a USHL type option?
Yeah, I think that's I think that's so late.
You think it's late?
Well, just look at some of these girls that are like how much these girls develop in their early 20s. And so we're sending these pipsqueaks off to college and they're leading the league, or you get an Olivia Mobley or somebody who happens to be taller, like an Emma Gentry, and they can absolutely dominate just because they've gotten some maturity in their size and things like that. But some of these women are actually becoming much more competitive. I was just reading about who's the Minnesota player who literally never was anything special, and now she's Izzy Daniel.
She was special,
but she doesn't have the same resume that some of her counterparts that don't play in the PW do, and she's having success. So her game's developing later, and she's becoming a force in the PW where some of her more maybe skilled or earlier developed girls would not make a lineup in the PW.
I think the only place she might be lacking in the resume department might be international play, but I mean, she was a Patty Kazmaier finalist. Yeah. She was a Miss Hockey finalist. But again, in
she
high school.
Did that her career got better. No,
you're totally right. Her career is going like this. There was no peaks,
and she wasn't on the U18s and the U22s, and she wasn't on the early list of girls that are just going to get kind of the silver platter. And she is one of the leading points in the league right now at the PW. So my point is the same players that are going to be good, and just like in boys hockey, like men's hockey, your NCAA players that stick out aren't always going to make it in the next league up. So yes, women's hockey is late to the game for having a place for girls to develop a little bit before they go and play NCAA hockey.
When they graduate from high school at 18, and then they have a year or two like the men do is with juniors, where they can focus all their attention on hockey and not be split between being a student and an athlete, and they can focus primarily on lifting or skill work or what have you, and they grow a lot in 2
when
years.
You look at the number of girls whose NCAA career is only 1 year or less, or then they're transferring, or look at the statistics at how is this working out for some of these girls. It's not.
I don't think it's cause for panic.
Yeah, it's not panic, but I do think, like I said, it should be short-sighted to not have a plan in place in the next 12 months, 18 months.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have somebody on from USA Hockey that wants to tell us all about this.
I bet we will. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the prospects, because a lot of these names are WCHA players that we don't talk about too often because they're not on our favorite teams, and some of these players are just amazing. So fun to see.
Any names jump out to you? We're citing the Hockey News' 2025 PWHL draft rankings, by the way, so shout out to the source.
Okay, so I'm surprised. Okay, here's the thing. I'm anxious to see what Abby Murphy does. She's going to have another year of eligibility, and aren't we in an Olympic year?
Kayla, are we in an Olympic year?
The timing for Murphy is interesting. I don't know if she's going to declare. I don't think she will.
I think his draft is different because last year Sarah Fillier was kind of she's the number one pick, a foregone conclusion. I don't know if Abby Murphy's a foregone conclusion. I'm assuming they're doing the draft again in June, so we still have
hopefully earlier than that.
We have a long way to go.
Yeah, and these this list is changing all the time. So right now at the top of the list is Abby Murphy.
No, Winter Olympics in 26.
In 26. Okay, so she'd have to get drafted and play part of 1 year basically in an Olympic prep year. Why wouldn't she just stick? Or maybe she gets a big contract. I think I'd be interested to find out if Chicago becomes an expansion city the following year, and then she becomes the Hillary Knight of the Chicago team on the following year.
Oh, that's fair. She's an Illinois native, isn't she?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where she spends her offseason and trains, and she's
she might
really
pull
involved over there.
She might pull a Fillier too, and not refuse, but opt to. So that's a nicer way of saying refuse. To sign a 1-year deal to see where expansion goes, as opposed to the standard 3-year entry level contract.
But the question is, like, also for these teams, it's like, where's their budget each year? Because they can only afford one, like, 3-year contract at like $250 a year. So if she has the window where that option's open to her, like, it would behoove her not to accept that kind of offer, because she's not going to get that offer at most teams.
Yeah, it would also depend on her endorsements too, though. Like if Bauer calls up Abby Murphy and says, hey, we're going to pay you X amount to where Bauer skates, then she might be able to take a lower salary number.
True. Yeah, so it's interesting to speculate what Abby Murphy will do, but she's just crushing it. I mean, she's like factoring in on so many points for the Gophers. She's the star of the show when Team USA gets on the ice. She's just a really dynamic player and super fun to watch. And also, like, when you watch her, you're like literally like kind of like
you make that face again.
Yeah, you're like, oh God, what's gonna happen?
Clutching your teeth?
Yeah, like again, I saw her try to get decapitated in the
try to decapitate somebody else, or
No,
somebody tried to
herself.
decapitate her.
No. She's such a pest, right? Like,
Yes.
the way she plays, she gets herself into these sticky situations. Cause she's short, she's fast, she's just like agile, but she ends up like in this precarious position, and the body contact ends up that like her head knocks off.
Oh, that's a good point. The Hockey News also points out that Abby might not have to declare for the draft.
She doesn't. She has another year.
She has another year of eligibility.
That's like the big deal. She's probably not going to declare. She's probably going to play another year at the U.
So was that what you were alluding to when you mentioned waiting to see how expansion goes? Okay.
Yep, she has time. And she was on Jocks and Jills, and she's straight up said, why would I ever go to the PW early? Why would I ever miss a year of NCAA hockey playing for the Gophers?
Yeah,
who in their right mind would skip a year of that if you could do it?
That's true.
So that's what she said, of course, on the PW podcast. But at this point, I don't think Abby Murphy is going to declare. That's my personal.
That's your prediction?
You know, and I had the same conversation with Layla Edwards last year. She considered declaring, like, very seriously. In May, when I played with her, she was saying, like, I might declare.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I think she had some advising maybe and decided not to. But for a lot of these women,
there are so many factors that play into it. You just mentioned the advisor, like who's your agent, and who does that agent or advisor owe a favor to? They might owe somebody a favor.
Mean people operate on special interests?
No, it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that advisors act in the best interest of their players. I would prefer to call advisors player advocates.
They have fiduciary responsibility.
Player advocates. That's what we'll call them. But it also depends on what's coming back too. Like if you're Abby Murphy and the incoming freshman class from Minnesota is really, really good, and you're bringing back everybody from what should be a Frozen Four national title contending team, why wouldn't you want to run it back with those players? Yeah. Same with Layla Edwards. Like, why wouldn't you want to just play again for the best team in the country?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for some people, you don't know what motivates them. But for some people to have a solid paycheck for the first time in their life, whether it's $40,000 or $100,000, is really appealing.
And some kids, these are young women. Some people just like being in college. Do you remember Jack Johnson?
Like the musician?
No, not Mr. Banana Pancakes who wore flip flops with jeans like a weirdo. Jack Johnson, the defenseman. He's from Michigan. He played at the University of Michigan, and during his draft year, I mean, he did everything. I think he was with the NTDP as well. But his dad played college football somewhere, and his dad loved the college experience, and he passed that love down to Jack. So Jack was caught in this kind of he'd been drafted, or he was about to get drafted, but the NHL teams couldn't quite peg how long he would stick around in college, and it was simply because he liked wearing the maize and blue at the University of Michigan. He liked skating out to Hail to the Victors, and he liked the college experience. So some players just enjoy being in college. And if you've got your academics in order and you are the toast of campus, ride the wave as long as you can,
I think
buddy.
It's taking like 6.5 years for some of these kids to graduate too. Like if you're an athlete and you're taking like your minimum credits or whatever, it pretty much takes like 6 years to get your degree.
If you're taking 12 credits a semester.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
So yeah, some of these kids have plenty of time left at college, and you might as well be playing hockey and not watching hockey.
And based on injuries, apparently you can play for like 8 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People got to take like a COVID year. They get a 5th year. They can transfer after
Medical
they graduated.
red shirt.
Yeah, they can red shirt. There are so many freaking loopholes for these kids. That's why I say like some of them are like playing into their 30s.
Could you imagine? Let's play a hypothetical game here. I graduated from college when I was 22. I think I was 22. Was I 22? Yeah, I was 22. Could you imagine graduating from high school at 18 and then not graduating from college until you're 26 years old?
I did that.
Yeah, but you
went to a lot of colleges.
You weren't on campus for 8 straight years.
No, well,
it's not like you showed up at Madison at 18 and then left
just, like,
Madison when you were in your mid-20s.
Yeah. No, that'd be a long time, like, to sit around.
That's a
at
really long
college,
time.
unless you're a doctor.
Yeah, unless you manage to get a master's and a doctorate in that 8 years. Other than that, you're just 25 years old hanging out at the college bars with 19, 20, and 21-year-olds.
God, it sounds so miserable.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some extra PWHL draft prospects that I want to highlight. These are Minnesotans. At number 9, according to the Hockey News, we have Rory Gilday, the Minnetonka defender. She's been everywhere internationally for the good old US of A. She's playing at Cornell right now. Peyton Hemp comes in at 29, Andover native, currently playing for the University of Minnesota. At 41, Lily DeLandis, she's at Cornell. She was, speaking of Izzy Daniel, she and Izzy Daniel were the dynamic duo at Blake when they were in high school, and they both ended up at Cornell. Hannah Baskin, she's also a Minnetonka native, or a Deep Haven, or a Tonka Bay, or all those little villages on Lake Minnetonka. She plays at UMD. Olivia Mobley at 55, she's also at UMD. At 58, Sydney Lang Seth, Minnesota State. And at 60, Jamie Nelson, Minnesota State. I think Jamie Nelson should be higher.
And these will change. These numbers will change. And Jamie's putting up points, but again, like they're not. Like how you do in the WCHA doesn't directly translate to where you're going to end up on the draft ranking. So
it doesn't. But I think of the type of player Jamie is and how hard she works, and goal scoring can either be taught or it's an inherent trait. And Jamie has never struggled scoring goals.
Yeah.
So I think Jamie Nelson should be higher.
So overall, the list we're looking at, the majority of the players in the top 20 are from like the top 8 ranked D1 teams, and then there's a bunch of check-ins. A couple Finnish women, but for just an idea of kind of where these people are coming from, WCHA is hot. Tons of WCHA players, and then Colgate, Clarkson, and then some of these other countries. I love there's a lot of Czechian women. So an interesting kind of correlation. The Ottawa Charge PWHL coach is Carla McLeod.
Okay.
And she also coaches the Czechian national and Olympic team.
Really? Mm-hmm. McLeod.
So she used to coach China.
Okay.
And then she just took over at Czechia like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So since then,
interesting. She's
well connected. She's a Badger alumni. I played with her. She was my freshman class.
Of course, she's a Badger alum.
So she has kind of, I presume, really helped pave the way for a lot of these Czechian women to find places not only in the PWHL, because she drafted like 6 Czechians, but also in the NCAA. I think a lot more European women are coming over here because of the prospect to play in the PW. But people like Carla McLeod, I guess I consider her a builder because some of these Czechians, the number 2 name on the list here is a Colgate Czechian. And this is on the PWHL draft list. So I think that's cool because I mean, I've never even considered a lot of those players competitive. And now that's a team that, you know, some of our USA teams, even U18, U22 are starting to find like, okay, these are no throwaway games.
Real competition.
Yeah. Like
my first experience with international women's hockey was at the women's U18 World Championships in Madison, Wisconsin. And that was, it's always Canada and the U.S., right? Canada and the U.S., but both the Canadians and the Americans learned that the Czechia, were here to play. And same with Sweden. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes when you, oh my gosh, when you think of European women's hockey, Scandinavia is the first thought, right? Finland and Sweden and maybe a little bit of Norway. My countrymen are a little behind the curve of our Swedish and Finnish neighbors. But not quite Eastern European, but Central European countries like Slovakia and like Czechia, there's some serious talent there. Mm-hmm. And they've long had skilled men's teams. So why wouldn't they have skilled women's teams? Nila Lapusanova is the next hot shit Ara, as you're so fond of saying. But she's a Czech native, and now she's at the Bishop Kearney, which I believe is Select's Academy. I can't quite keep straight which school they actually go to when they play for BK Selects, but she'll be at the University of Wisconsin within the next couple of years, and she's apparently the next supernova in women's hockey.
Yeah. So
from Czechia.
Well, it's fun to see that, and that's just kind of more of this like
Slovakia. Excuse me.
The more we can be a part of creating an atmosphere in Europe that, I don't know, what do they call that when you like bring up the lower level up toward the top?
Ooh, I don't know what the technical term is. We can go with bringing the bottom to the top.
Well, I mean, it's exciting to see. And then when you look at this list, I can't pronounce like 10 of the top 25 names. So that's a good thing. But the rest are Wisconsin Badgers. So obviously there's that.
Yeah. I think if you want to win, you draft a Gopher.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I guess there are a bunch of Gophers on the Walter Cup winning team. I suppose. No Badgers.
Well, you're the big Badger fan. I got to throw a little love out there for the maroon and gold.
But that's what I was saying. The Gopher, the Walter Cup winning roster has like 10-fold Gophers versus Badgers on it.
I might have to start paying more attention to the Swedish Women's Hockey League.
Well, so that's the thing. Like so that league is being infiltrated with high-level U.S. women as well now.
Sydney Broad.
Right.
She just signed with Frölunda.
Exactly. All these women that had a spot on a PWHL roster last year but who didn't make a team this year went over to Europe now.
Okay, so you're also trying to make the point that players that are right on the cusp of making a PWHL team are taking spots away from natural-born Swedes?
No, because those girls are coming over here. They're already over here now.
Okay.
Their spots open over there because they came here.
Okay.
So, like, we're pulling all the best talent here, which is great for us. But it's lacking in foresight because the only feeder league really for that PW right now are these European leagues. That's where you go after 22 or whatever, like to develop if you want to continue to strive for a spot.
There's no AHL
right.
for women's hockey.
Right. So what they're doing is they're going over there, but their top talent over there has now come here.
Okay.
So they don't have the same level of play over there. There's like the gap widened. And that is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, but I think it's just a pill you have to swallow because the PWHL is the premier league in the world. So
yes, but it won't stay the premier league in the world.
Why not?
Because the girls in there now are at that high level of play.
Yeah.
There is not a program getting more girls to that high level of play.
You're saying it's not sustainable.
Not sustainable.
Not sustainable. Okay.
You're going to have 12 girls on every team that are going to be at that level of play, and ultimately they're going to have babies or move on or whatever. And then there's no one replacing. There's nobody replacing Taylor Heisey right now. You know what I mean? Like there's just not a feeder program where these girls can grow, develop, get bigger and stronger, and come in and find a spot at 25.
Okay. I would say give it 10 years.
Yeah. So
I'm in more of a wait and see here. That's an interesting point, though, that you don't think about with men's professional leagues. Like, what if
they have Iowa? Like, you know what I mean? Like they have.
What if a bunch of players get pregnant or have children at the same time?
Yeah. Well, I think like 8 of the women that retired from the PWHL last year, I mean, potentially they knew that the writing was on the wall, but they've all announced pregnancies in the last 6 months, you know?
I would love to have a PW player that had recently had a child and how you balance that. Like, at what point does the doctor say, okay, you're too pregnant, you can't play a contact sport anymore?
The doctor doesn't say that.
Really?
I played 23 weeks pregnant.
Really? Okay.
In the walleye chop,
Hold
baby.
on, fill me in. I can't get pregnant, so why don't you tell me what it's like to play hockey with?
It's just up to you. It's like whatever. Okay. It's like you shouldn't like make any major changes for your body. So if you are a hardcore athlete and you get pregnant, you don't become injured and like sit out. You just play hardcore until you're. There's a point where your brain doesn't work anymore, but also like so much takes over that like you don't have the hands. You don't have what it takes to play with your friends for now, even though you want to. So then you just take walks and stuff.
Okay, and how do you set aside the feeling that you're playing a contact sport and you have this little thing growing inside you? Like, were you ever afraid that somebody might try to slash your hand and miss?
No, because like babies are super resilient and our bodies are incredible. So it can take a whole lot of trauma and still do its job. Okay.
I don't know. This is all news to me. I'm
obviously there's risk. Like you don't just but the same thing is if you leave your house and shovel your driveway that morning.
Yeah.
So it's like doctors
like you don't play paintball pregnant.
Yeah, like it's more traumatic for your embryo to make a stressful change in your life and have be overwhelmed with stress than to do the thing.
Interesting.
I mean, I had people whose doctors had said like if quitting smoking would be too stressful, that could
smoking.
It could like legitimately be less traumatic for your baby to have secondhand smoke than for the mom to try to quit smoking while she's pregnant.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I guess I should have known that though. You ever watch Sex and the City?
Yeah.
So when Charlotte gets pregnant and she and her husband had struggled before, she stops running. And the doctor says, because you're a runner already, you should not stop exercising.
Right.
Because if it's something you enjoy doing, you should just do it anyway.
Well, and yeah, like the baby would take on way more from maternal stress than some of these toxic, things that you could eat or expose them to briefly.
I learned a lot there in that last 8 minutes.
Yeah, so that's why I played hockey until my baby was almost born.
I love it. Good for you, man. Good for you.
But then afterwards, once the baby's there, I didn't play hockey for like what felt like 10 years, but because you don't get a minute. And I finally came back to hockey after a couple years, so my kids were like old enough to like walk or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd be on the other side of Augsburg just trying to play some hockey. And I've got my kids there, and the rink is the babysitter. And they're like opening the gate on the other side. And they're like, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom.
You're like, shut up. I'm on a breakaway.
Well, and I'm playing A Division WAM hockey, which means there's only 2 subs on the bench. So I'm not going to be able to just take him to the bathroom. But anyway, the getting the pregnant part, like being pregnant and playing wouldn't be the issue. It's like the afterwards. And I know Kendall Coyne Schofield's got a young baby, but I don't know how many players in the league have young babies.
It's a good question.
I don't think it's too many because I feel like once you've, like as you're a woman, once you decide I'm taking on this new role, like you quit hockey. There aren't a whole lot of women I don't think that are like balancing both. And for most women that did retire, like women should be able to play as long as Ryan Suter. Women my age should have a chance to play in the PWHL because we could be some of the most poised and highest IQ players out there, but we all quit at 28 when we have babies instead of 40 when we decide to quit or when our body gives up. So in reality, I'd love to see if more women have babies and come back. Is that something where they come back after their kids are 6 or 7 and don't need constant mom attention?
Man, 6 or 7 though, that's 7 years out of the game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, is the game going to adapt to? I don't know. Like, does that? It makes sense though, right? Like, if you're a woman, why once your kid's able to wipe their own butt, shouldn't you be able to come back and play hockey at a high competitive level?
Well, wiping the butt is that's the ultimate sign that you're ready to leave them alone. It's the wiping of the butt.
Well, it's actually analogous to just the constant kneading.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying.
To be able to have like a little independence, like you said, Jossie time, which I've not heard of until I could get my kids Ubers.
I said Jossie time?
Yeah, earlier you
referenced
as if I get like time where it's just me and I'm just relaxing, reflecting on something.
Yeah, that's journaling, meditating, lighting candles.
But my youngest just turned 13, which means he's got his own Uber account now. And
nice.
Anyway, so like in theory, let's say I'm 32 and my youngest just turned 13 and I'm like stronger and bigger than somebody graduating college this year because right now we don't do it because men don't do it. Like we quit at whatever time because that's what time we do it.
I just think 7 years is a long time to be out of the game and then get back in.
It probably is, but that's what I'm curious about. Is it? Nobody knows. Nobody's done it.
I wonder what the legal ramifications of that looks like. Because there are civic laws protecting mothers from being let go from their jobs. It doesn't always work out that way. Companies will get real creative to figure out how to let
maybe the
go.
woman still trains on it. Like maybe she's on like a baby roster. Like maybe she's on the team for 2 or 3 years training, getting ice and shit. Like
there's a pool of new moms that teams can pull from.
This is the feeder program for the PW. It's just the freaking ECFE, the early childhood hockey fucking moms. They get together, they talk up, they bond over how hard it is, and then they do stick handling.
They watch each other's kids while they suit up for Montreal.
Yeah, they do their circuit on the squat machine.
They're like e-bugs.
They just like there's probably like a playpen in the weight room.
Oh my god!
And it's like enclosed, so the babies just go in there.
Anybody from the PW that wants to fill us in on if there is a playpen or a crib in the weight room.
No, because right now all the women they're like, well, I guess I'm not a hockey player anymore because I want to be a mom. So then they have to retire and they're done. So there's no playpen.
I honestly feel like having a crib in the weight room would be more motivating than somebody just yelling at you. Squat deeper. But you hear your baby crying and you're like, I got to do this for the baby. Not a thing.
I think this is why the moms aren't doing it, because you like really actually like this maternal instinct. When you hear your baby cry, like you probably wouldn't be able to do your squat. You'd be trying to soak up like some sort of leakage, and you just
wiping butts.
So it's this is why I'm curious, like
slapping pucks and wiping butts.
Like when some of these top players want to start having babies, like do they all just wave goodbye to the game?
I hope not.
And realistically, like, why does the expectation have to be, well, fine, you can keep playing, but you get the same, like, 3 months that any United Healthcare employee gets, and then you're back to it, like, 70 hours a week. Like, it's not realistic. Like, a baby would need more from their mom than a traveling hockey player. So, like, there probably wouldn't be a very good balance between playing for the PW.
Sounds like a larger conversation about parental leave.
Well, but
and how long parental leave should be.
I don't even care what they're going to give these ladies. I care about the mindset of the female who really, really desperately wants to play hockey at the highest level, but also wants to be a mom, and trying to juggle that and figure out, like, do I just have to quit hockey entirely, or do I just have to put off being a mom till I'm 40, which inherently there's all these risks associated with that. Like, can we like make it normal for a woman to say, like, who's my favorite Badger that just retired from the Frost? I'm totally blanking on her.
Your favorite Badger?
She just announced her
retired.
pregnancy. She played last year on the team. I'm like totally blanking on her name. She came to the Dangle Fest and did.
Oh, damn it, Sophia.
Yes.
Sophia Kunin.
Kunin. Yeah.
Kunin? Is it Kunin?
Okay, so she just announced her retirement.
I think it's Kunin.
I remember her as Sophia Shaver. It was at a high school. So
she she had to announce this like big formal retirement. Maybe that's not what she wanted. I haven't talked to her about it. But like instead of I'm taking my 2-year baby break or whatever, like, and then there's like a plan to come back from that.
That's what I would be curious to see legal ramifications if it's written into the Players Association language. Like,
but it's not like 3 months. It's like my kid no longer needs my boobs. I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
You have to give me 18 months to come back, and you have to give me a legitimate chance to take my spot back.
Yes, like exactly. Ooh. Like you don't have to quit if you want to have a baby. Like you can still play hockey. And we all know that having a baby is a lot of work, so you don't get just a 3-month, like we all like identify that we still rather have Sophia Kunin playing hockey than not, but she also wanted to have a baby, like, or when Taylor Heisey wants to have a baby, do we all have to say goodbye to her?
You're saying that there should be an apparatus in place to make sure that women can do both.
Yeah, and like Kendall Coyne, like, did she have to like sacrifice things that she expected as a mom or to be able to do her experience?
A general sleep schedule, yeah.
Did she have to sacrifice so many things because she wanted to stay competitive and help and be on a PWHL roster? And like, what kind of a bummer, actually. Like, like I'd actually experience grief if my whole motherhood was different than I expected because I also wanted to change the face of women's hockey forever.
Wow. Sounds like two.
Well, I've got a lot of questions for Kendall. We need to get her on here.
I have a lot of questions for professional women's athletes in general. I can't, obviously I'm a man, and I have no idea what that would look like, trying to retire from something that I've worked for my entire life because I became pregnant. Man, there'd be some resentment. I don't know. I don't want to get into resenting your child, but
no, it is. There is definitely a balance, and if you want to be, it's tough to wear too many hats. That's for sure.
My sisters didn't really have to walk away from anything when they had their kids.
Yeah, for this crop of people, it's just like, how does that look for them? And either the game has to sacrifice, it feels like, or the mom and baby.
If I were a lawyer, I would be licking my chops if there was legal language included in whatever a CBA looks like for the PWHL players.
But the
when
thing
it comes
is
to
that
pregnancy.
the PWHL is newer than these other women's leagues that don't have, the women's, what is that football team that women, have you ever been to one of the women's football games? Those are intense.
No.
Those are roller derby.
The Minnesota Vixen.
The Vixen. Oh, I saw them once at OPH for breakfast. Holy shit.
I took their media day pictures.
Are they cool?
They're super, super nice.
Imagine
Every
the
single
most
one.
hardcore.
But you also you see them coming towards you and you're like, oh yeah, they play tackle football.
Oh, that's the thing. They were all sitting at one table at your original pancake house, and I was like, can I get into the other room? Like, I just want to eat my pancakes without fear.
Just picture men's football and then just translate it to women. Women, it's like
the most hardcore women's hockey team you've ever seen.
Very.
Imagine Michelle Willie's team, the Fighting Sioux, from hockey.
Yeah, it's spelled SUE, right?
SIOUX. No,
Oh,
SUE.
that's what,
yeah, no,
okay,
SUE.
it is. Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
called
no,
SUE.
that's not how you spell
It's
Sioux.
spelled SUE.
Yeah, the Fighting Sioux, SUE. But 6 feet taller, 65 pounds heavier, less
Damn.
They're also the nicest people ever.
Oh, it's so nice.
They come towards you and you're like, oh my God, they're going to kill me. And then they just talk and they're the sweetest people ever.
You're like, you guys are the best.
Thanks
They're like, you want to come to our game?
Thanks so much for taking these pictures. I was like, uh-huh.
You're saying don't judge a book by its very buff cover?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the Vixen look super badass. They look scary.
Yeah.
But
We should have a new mom on. I have so many questions.
But yeah, that's the thing. The PW is new. What are the
They have a lot of room to work with here.
I know, but we'd be ridiculous to expect that the PW would have something come out that would benefit when none of these other leagues have done it.
But if the league is still so malleable and so not easy, but so new that it can still be molded in a modern shape, why wouldn't it be the first league to offer maternity protection?
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd love to see it. But I think right now, the league still is being scrutinized for other stupid stuff like the scheduling situation. There's
What's wrong with the schedule?
I'm reading just the truncated schedule that doesn't seem to have a ton of, it's nobody laid out an at a glance when they made it. But so here were some references made regarding Boston, for example. Right now, Boston's playing at Sangha Center. It's at an hour and a half out of the city on a good day. Mm-hmm. And they're playing at 7 p.m. or dinner time on a Tuesday. So they're getting 900 fans at their game, which is really too bad.
Yeah,
they've got the
great.
3 consecutive worst attended women PW games in the season.
Okay.
And this 7 p.m. Tuesday night home game is the only home game they have in 28 days.
Ooh,
and then
yikes.
they have one more home game, and then they have another 24 days with no home games. So Boston has 2 home games in 2 months, both at the Sangha Center on a weeknight. And every night, there's I think somebody had pulled, I think Ian Kennedy showed a list of it was this Lauren or whatever, showed this list of nights that the TD Garden was available.
Okay. 17
nights in December and January. Nobody's out. It's an empty building.
And they're just not playing there.
And then the 900 fans that are driving from Boston to Lowell are late. They got there at the end of the first.
Yeah.
And Boston can't win. I mean,
traffic sucks out
go
there,
figure,
so.
Boston. Go figure this isn't working for the players who've got one of the best rosters, one of the best uniforms, all sorts of good things going for it, and they can't.
And especially
execute.
so early in the league's existence, revenue is so important. If they're not bringing in the revenue,
Why wouldn't you be in Boston proper? Why wouldn't you let these women who are fans of hockey show up in Boston? Nobody's driving to Lowell. Get real. Can you imagine if the Frost played in St. Cloud or even worse, Alexandria? Who would go?
I wouldn't go.
Would you go, Kayla?
No.
I know. So they got to get that figured out. So that's not only location situation, but the schedule. So the scheduling is they scheduled 3 games per team or whatever in like 4 days, and then they have a 15-day break. And these girls were just sitting around for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks with no schedule dropped. We were waiting for the schedule in October.
Yeah.
The NHL had their schedule out in July.
Yeah.
So then, if you want to be a Boston fan, in October you found out if you wanted to buy your tickets to the Tuesday night game in Lowell, Well,
if there was only 900 people at the game, it sounds like tickets weren't hard to come by.
The tickets were easy to find, but I know the Frost fans awaited the opening day ticket sales.
Yeah.
And a lot of people bought tickets on opening day, not even knowing what their calendar looked like. They just bought tickets, and that was going to be what dictated their calendar. These Boston fans aren't going to be able to do that. Anyway, there's
some growing pains still.
And so to me, the scheduling is like they shouldn't have these ridiculous breaks. Why don't you give they train for 3 games, and then they're all off for all this time? Like, they do this 3 times, I think, in this season. It's only a 30-game season. So then they're going to play 4 nights a week in February.
I wish I had a better response to that other than...
Well, they take another break for Women's
Hopefully
Worlds.
it gets better.
They take another break for Women's Worlds, too.
When's that?
That is, I think it's in January. I think that's that next break. That's why...
Okay, so we still got a few weeks before that.
Yeah, to me, the schedule. Okay, no, sorry. Women's Worlds are in April, but that's still in season. And actually, they can't even figure out when and where to schedule the draft or the Walter Cup.
Oh, jeez.
Because of this Women's Worlds, and again, we have the same rosters for every single hockey outing for women.
Just have the draft in Minnesota again. That's fine.
I don't even know if that changes this.
Do it here. It's easy for us to send somebody over there.
Well, anyway, I think that there's some growing pains still in the league. Circling back to watching the games. We can talk about them all day.
Well, it says that you can still watch it on YouTube, though.
Okay, so they came back. YouTube heard our episode. Felt terrible.
Yeah, they did. The CEO of YouTube was like, shit, I just listened to the women's hockey pod, guys. We got to make sure the PWHL is available.
Jossie can't even watch hockey. What are we going to do?
This gal named Jossie, we need to hire her here at YouTube.
There's tons of companies after me right now, you guys. XL.
Are there actually?
Centerpoint.
Are you actually leaving us for something else?
No, these are like my mortgage company and my bills.
They're after her.
I'm going to need to be able to cover hockey.
You guys, the produce department at Hy-Vee is putting together a package for me, all right?
Apples, bananas.
It's between the produce department at Hy-Vee or the meat department at Cub Foods. All I'm saying is there are perks to both. I think that's probably a good place to call it for the day.
I feel like there's probably tons we're not even talking about, but it's the holidays. We're sure you guys probably are like late walking into your holiday party listening to us right now. So.
Or you're not even going to your holiday party because you're like, I don't like any of my coworkers. I'm not going.
Hey, but none of us at YHH like our coworkers, and we all went.
Whoa.
That's partly what makes us unified is we're mostly hate people.
Hate people.
What?
Am I wrong? I'm not.
I don't hate
that was just
people.
something I was sensing on my own.
I don't hate other people.
I feel like in general we all like each other enough.
Oh yeah, like in a good way, but we're like people hater people. Generally.
Oh, like we like.
I'd rather stay home than
not stay home.
That's
what you mean.
I'd rather stay home than not stay home.
Yeah, me
too. Let's be honest,
Peter. I'm like half and half. I like to go out, hit the town.
Peter said.
Go to Chipotle.
What are we
still
supposed
young.
to talk about last week about the holiday party? So
I was not sure how I was
Holy.
supposed to socialize with people that I see during tournaments, and our only interaction is, hey, the clock's not started, or hey, the music's not playing.
I just talked a lot about the fried cheese.
Wow, no one can carry a convo quite like Jossie.
I did wear
Fried
my best outfit,
cheese,
though.
buddy.
I did wear my best outfit.
You did. You crushed
Your
it.
best dress.
You wore a dress and heels and a mink, and you looked awesome.
Meanwhile, the box workers all showed up and looked like they were ready to work the box.
They look just like they do at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I was very proud of them.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming back for yet another week of the Women's Hockey Pod. We will likely take a week off next week to enjoy time with our families. There won't be a whole lot of hockey to report on, but we will see you after the new year. Thanks, guys.
Hey, there's no way around. I'm top of the mountain. I'm queen of the mountain. My cup running over.